What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel where I discuss the CPA exam, the accounting lifestyle, and everything in between. If that sounds awesome to you, make sure to hit that subscribe button below and welcome to the family. So this year has definitely started off pretty crazy to say the least. But if there's one thing I learned from 2020 is to always be ready for anything. And I mean anything. The great thing about living through 2020 and coming out the other end is now being able to take a step back, take a deep breath, analyze what I did wrong, and realize how I could have taken advantage of the present moment. Because at the end of the day, it's really all we have. So today, I wanted to go over the 5 things that I learned from 2020 that some of which I will no longer be doing. And I repeat, I will no longer be doing. If that sounds interesting to you guys, let's hop into it. The first thing I learned from 2020 is to only worry about the things that you have full control over. When everything started happening in March and they started locking everything down, I was scared, anxious, upset, worried. I was just a bunch of things about everything going on around me. Because I was so focused with things that were completely out of my control, my diet started going downhill, my physical activity wasn't what it should be, I started eating bad food, I started having conversations with people that really added no value to my life. And it wasn't till October, November that I really internalized the situation of what I was dealing with and what I was going through. And I asked myself, what can I do in my own personal life to put myself in the best situation to win? Once I did this, I was so relieved to just focus on things that I have full control of. And in my experience, that ends up being the food you consume, what you drink, the content you consume, the books you read, and who you choose to be around. And this correlates directly to school and the CPA exam. You can't control what they're gonna put on the exam, what they ask you, but you can control how hard you work, how much you study, and how dedicated you are to the goal you set out for yourself. Everything else that is completely outside of your control is just noise and should be completely blocked out. If you can really focus and dial in on the few things you have full control of, you will drastically impact your life. The second thing that I learned from 2020 that I will no longer be doing is getting caught up in the noise and current events. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't be informed about what's going on, but what I am saying is that when everyone's going crazy and everything is just chaos, this is your opportunity to take a step back, take a deep breath, analyze the situation, see what opportunities lie ahead, and strike when it's right. When the stock market crashed in March and everyone was going crazy, I was totally going crazy too. I was glued to the TV, checking on updates, seeing what was going on, and I was driving myself insane. Looking back now, what I should have done is taken a step back, analyze the situation, and realize, okay, we're gonna be at home for a bit. People are still gonna need to buy things. What are people still gonna need to buy? What services are we gonna need? What are we still gonna be using in our lives since we're gonna be at home? Believe it or not, some companies did astronomically well during this pandemic. And looking back now, I wish I would have maybe invested some excess cash that I had on hand into some of these companies during this time. So remember, when everyone starts losing it, be as cold as ice, take a step back, put yourself in the best situation to win regardless of the circumstances. The third thing I learned is I will limit the amount of social media and mainstream media news that I consume. During 2021, I haven't really kept up with any really social media news or anything really, and I can't tell you how much happier I am. Aside from the podcasts I listen to and the books I read, I don't really watch anything anymore. It's just so crazy to me now how I'll go about my day focusing on my health, my work, my family, my relationships, and I'll have randomly, a friend or someone that I talk to come and tell me, hey man, do you see what's going on? Do you see what's happening? The world is gonna end tomorrow. And I'm just sitting here like, well, my house is okay. My investments are good. Family's healthy. I don't really know what's going on. It's just crazy to me now how you can have 2 different people living in the same area, same place, and just live in 2 different realities. I have also really tried to limit the amount of time I spend scrolling on social media. I can't tell you guys how much time I spent last year mindlessly scrolling through social media, keeping up with news, just on things that really added no value in my life. And I'm totally gonna make a reference to a book that I'm currently reading here. I'm literally 20 pages in and I am totally hooked. Highly recommend this book just from what I've read so far. And it really just talks about the concept of how we're constantly distracted by these gadgets and these apps and news and everything else, and how it really just prevents us from having real meaningful fulfillment in the work we do every day. Now, I will say that these apps do serve a purpose in our life, but let's just remember to be purposeful and intentional about how we use these apps. Instead of spending that much time on your phone or scrolling through social media, spend time building your skills, spend time building your crafts, spend time with loved ones. These apps do have a purpose in our life, but let's just always be intentional about how we use them. The fourth thing I learned from 2020, and probably one of the most important, is how important it is to be financially secure. Now, I completely understand how most of you are on your path to becoming great CPAs, so your income potential will be just fine. But if there's one thing I learned in life, it's not how much you make, it's how much you spend. Make sure to always have 3 to 6 months of living expenses of cash on hand, readily available when life happens. Stay away from debt like it's the plague. Literally, stay away from debt as much as you can, and diversify where your investments are at, just to mitigate the risk of one thing going completely down the drain. Now, I've always kind of been a personal finance junkie myself, so if you guys wanted me to make videos on how I kind of handle my investments and things I've learned in my short career and life, make sure to drop a comment below. The fifth and final thing I learned from 2020 is that the most important thing in life is not your career, it's not your title, it's not your status, it's other people. Now, I know this channel is all about personal development and growth and crushing all of your accounting goals, and believe me, I'm all about that. But at the end of the day, the most important thing in life is your relationships and those around you. We get one life, and I feel like real happiness and fulfillment comes from having real, meaningful relationships with those around us. In a really strange and weird way, I'm kind of thankful for 2020 and the lockdowns and everything that happened, because I was able to spend more time with my family. I called people that I haven't talked to via Zoom or FaceTime that I probably wouldn't have talked to otherwise, because I was so busy in the daily grind of life. So at the end of the day, no matter how busy we get, no matter how ambitious we are, no matter how much we're chasing our goals, always, always, always make time for those that matter the most. All right, guys, there you have it. These are the 5 things that I learned from 2020 that I know I will be implementing not only this year, but for many years to come. If you got some value from this video, make sure to smash that like button below, and also make sure to subscribe for the weekly video I release every single Sunday. Until next time, work hard, dress well. Peace.